Guys, welcome back to my channel. Is it too late to say Happy New Year? Because I never officially said Happy New Year to all of you. And I know it's February and you guys are probably like, girl, Happy New Year was so last month ago. But still, Happy New Year. I hope you guys have a great, fantastic year. I hope that everything wonderful and everything that you have dreamed about finally happens for you this year. So we're gonna get started because I know me, and if we don't get started, I'm gonna start rambling and talking because I just talk way too much. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pin my hair back so it's out of the way. If you are not gonna watch this whole video and you only take away one thing from this video, it is this. Hydration, hydration, hydration is the key to having a flawless face. I cannot stress this enough. Repeat it with me, guys. Hydration, hydration, hydration. And when I mean hydration, I don't mean you go and you throw water on your face. I literally mean that your skin needs to feel wet and moisturized and just very plump. If you have dry skin, your makeup foundation will not, and I repeat, will not come out good. No matter how much makeup, no matter how much moisturizer you put on top when you're about to do your makeup, it just won't work. So having really good, really hydrated skin is what's gonna make your makeup application go that much further and make your skin look even more amazing. I am hydrating my skin all the time, and that doesn't just mean before you do your makeup. It means washing and cleansing and moisturizing your face in the morning, washing and cleansing and moisturizing your face in the evening religiously so that your skin is naturally hydrated. It means drinking enough water every single day, and then on top of that, it also means prepping your skin properly. Because I'm not talking about all the other stuff today, I'm going to talk about the makeup application of skincare. But if you guys want to know how to properly hydrate your skin like the other ways that I mentioned, please leave a comment down below and I will do like an in-depth video on the proper ways to hydrate your skin and have the best skin that you can possibly have. But for now, we're just going to talk about what you would do right before you do your makeup. The base before you start anything with your makeup is you want to start with hydration. I always start by making sure my whole face is nicely hydrated. Every part of my face has to have some type of hydration. Some people use a primer, but I like to even go further and use like a serum before I apply a primer because that's really going to help penetrate the product into my skin and it's going to help it look hydrated. And when your skin is hydrated, it makes your makeup melt into your skin. It blends it so much better and it doesn't look like you're wearing makeup. It becomes your skin, and that's the whole point of makeup application. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to moisturize my lips because like I mentioned, I moisturize every part of my face. And this lip balm that I'm using is from Apothecary, and it's the repairing and conditioning lip balm. I love it because it has a lot of natural oils in this lip balm, so it helps to naturally hydrate my skin. The first thing that I always do is I use some type of spray to just get my face awakened and get everything moving and grooving and just start the hydration process. So lately, what I have been loving is this toner from Apothecary. Guys, I can't even explain to you how much I love this toner. In fact, it's actually really bad because I spray it like just because. I come home and I'm like, like it's literally like a drug. It smells so good and refreshing. It has rose in it, and that's why it just smells so amazing. But honestly, any spray for your face will work. If you don't have a spray like this, like a toner spray or even like a makeup setting spray, you can use even some water if you wanted to. I'm in love with this toner, and as you can see, so my face is a little bit wet, and now I can go into the next part before the toner dries up on my skin. So right now my skin, it feels really awake, it feels really like hydrated and moisturized, and I'm gonna go in with the next steps to keep that going. So I'm gonna go in with this serum. This is the Rejuvenating and Hydrating Serum from Apothecary. I'm going to take a little bit on my hand, just a few drops, and then I'm actually going to take some of the toner, spray it into the product, and I'm going to start to work it into my hands. This is going to help the serum apply way better into my skin. As you can see, I'm just really working the product into my skin. When I get to the top, making sure to take the time to really work this product into my skin. Anywhere that you feel like you have dry areas, like I have a ton of dryness around my nose area, especially in the winter, I will make sure that I focus there. Now, if you wanted to, you could stop there with the serum. You don't need to apply moisturizer on top, but because I love being extra hydrated and it helps to have a really glowy skin type of look, I'm going to go in with one more step, and that is going to be to add in a moisturizer. So this is the Nourishing and Revitalizing Moisturizer, also by Province Apothecary. If you can't tell, I love their stuff. I'm a huge Province Apothecary fan. I have been buying their stuff for, oh my gosh, like at least 2 years. I get my facials from them. My naturopath is there, so I'm a big fan of them. And I reached out to them actually, and I asked them if they would be willing to give you guys a code for a discount, and they said yes. So if you want any of the products that I'm mentioning from them, or any of the products that they have on their website, feel free to check out the description box, because if you use the code ruthrchin at checkout, you'll get 15% off your order, which is amazing. And girl, I'll be using that code too, so anyways, back to the point of this tutorial. I'm going to put some moisturizer into my hand. So again, I'm going to apply some toner. It just helps it. You don't need to apply the toner if you don't want to, but it just gives it that extra boost to really penetrate the skin. And what I'm gonna do is, because makeup application doesn't just stop with your face, I'm also gonna put it on my neck, because you don't want to have no crusty neck, and you are gonna apply some makeup there to help it blend down. And as you can see, it goes into your skin, like it just looks so hydrating. My skin from when we started this video to now looks a lot more plump, it looks a lot more awake, it has a shiny glow to it just by doing those few steps. And when you touch it, it feels very plump. Now the next step for anyone who's doing their makeup application would be a primer. I don't necessarily think that you need a primer. If you've done all the steps that I've done and you've made sure that your skin is nicely hydrated and it feels tacky like the way my skin feels right now, you don't need a primer. So I'm going to show you the two primers that I do use, and that's just because these are the ones that I have in my house that I purchased. This is the Fenty Beauty Primer, and then I also have the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. I honestly hardly ever use primers. I actually think that it was a waste of money that I bought these two, because as you can see, they're both extremely full and I've had them for quite some time now. I really would rather just focus on making sure that my skin is properly hydrated with skincare and with like hydrating serums and things like that than to use a primer. Priming your skin doesn't necessarily mean you only have to use a primer. You can do what I did just now. You can use a makeup hydrating spray. You can use a priming water spray. It really just depends on your own personal preference. Since this video is about the way I do my full face routine, I'm actually going to do one more thing, and I'm going to spray my face with toner. This is usually what I do right before I go in with any type of makeup product on my skin, just to seal in all of the moisture that we've put into the skin. Okay, so now that my skin is properly hydrated and everything is good to go and my base is primed, we're gonna start off with the first step of my face routine, and that is color correcting. Now, I don't think that I have really bad darkness, but because of just genetics, if anybody is a woman of color, or even if you are like of a Caucasian skin tone or any type of different skin tone, you might experience either darkness or redness in certain parts of your face. I'm using the LA Girl Pro Conceal color corrector. This is in the color GC990, and it's the orange corrector. I'm going to be placing this color corrector around my nose, around my mouth like I mentioned, and just around my eyelid area to help brighten things up and get them ready for foundation. So one thing with color correcting is you want to make sure that you don't apply the product where you don't need it. You only want to apply the color corrector where you experience either the darkness or the redness. If you start putting it in places where you don't need it, it's going to look weird once you put on the other products on your face, because there's nothing to correct, so it's just going to look like you have these orange blotches all over your face. So to blend everything out, I love using a damp beauty blender. I really don't think that there is anything better than a damp beauty blender. I find that sometimes brushes can be really harsh, especially around your eye area, and because you don't want to be tugging and pulling around this area, beauty blenders, in my opinion, are the way to go. Okay, so then now that that's blended out, I'm going to go in with my True Match Lumi foundation. This is from L'Oreal. It is one of my ride or die foundations. Literally love this foundation so much. I'm gonna use that same beauty blender and start dotting the foundation all over my skin. I'm not really working the product into my skin as of yet. I'm just kind of placing the product everywhere that it needs to go. I'm a little bit pale right now because of winter, so I feel like my foundation color is not exactly what I want it to be, and it makes it a little bit harder because I have to do a little more blending to make it work. And obviously with this beauty sponge, you don't want to swipe on your skin because that's just going to take the product off and it's not going to make it work. I'm just pouncing the product everywhere that I want it to go. Just pounce, 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 pounce. Really softly, but getting the product to work. Once I get to like my neck area, I kind of like pounce and drag just a little bit. But for the most part, I'm still pouncing it. For concealer and even contour, before I go in with any highlighting powder or anything like that, I love going in with liquids. So like a liquid contour and a liquid concealer before you go on with powder, because it just helps to make the makeup last so much longer. And it also helps to blend the product into your skin so it looks a lot more natural, like it's your actual skin rather than just makeup sitting on top of your skin. For concealer, I'm going in with my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in the color NW35. And I'm just taking a little synthetic brush so that I can apply it where I want the concealer to be. And basically I'm applying it everywhere that we applied that color corrector, but I'm applying it a lot heavier. So I'm just getting it underneath my eye area, doing obviously that triangle, focusing it on my lids. And then I'm also placing a little just around the corners of my nose. Then I'm also going to take a little bit and just apply it on my chin. I'm going to do down the bridge of my nose, just do like an X on my forehead, a very small one. And then I'm just going to hit right here on my mouth area. I don't want to put too much because I don't want to lighten up that area too much. So I'm going to let that sit on my skin for just a few seconds. I want the product to work a little bit into the skin. I don't want it to dry necessarily, but I want it to work into my skin because I really want to get the most benefit out of the product. Now while that's doing that, I'm going to go in with a clean Beauty Blender sponge. So this is the one I used for my foundation. I'm going to use this one for my concealer, and I'm just going to spray it a little bit. Now it's already damp, but I want the toner that I just sprayed into this beauty sponge to activate the product and make it look like it's part of my skin and melt into my skin, and that's why I do this step. If you wanted to, you could even spray the toner directly onto your face. You just have to be a little bit quicker about blending out the product. So now what I'm going to do that's kind of set on my skin for a little bit is I'm going to start blending everything out. And I'm using that same motion as I did before, obviously. Just pouncing it lightly, but making sure that the product is really working out. And when you get to this area here where the concealer is kind of meeting the foundation, I just like to go in the area that I want the concealer to go, like just this slanted point so that it's blending out nicely. I also make sure to blend concealer in the inner corner. If you miss that part, you can look very dark even if you've applied concealer. So make sure you're blending it up in here as well. If you feel like your sponge is getting a bit dry, you can just spray it with more toner. It's all blended out, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my toner. And like I mentioned to you guys, I literally spray my face like 50 times while I'm doing my makeup, but it makes such a difference. Like it might seem excessive and it might seem like you don't really need to be doing all those steps of spraying and moisturizing, but I'm telling you guys, it makes such a difference in the way that your foundation and just your overall full face routine is going to turn out. Also, spraying it allows it to really penetrate into the skin, which means that your makeup's gonna last a lot longer, like a lot longer. Like if you have problems that your makeup is not lasting the whole night, it's probably because you're not hydrating it enough and you're not like really setting the makeup onto your skin. By doing this, by spraying it constantly over and over again, you're really ensuring that your makeup's gonna last all night or all day long. I'm using my Ben Nye banana powder. Absolutely love this powder. It's a yellow powder because it just works well on my skin tone, but you can use a translucent powder if you want. This is the Laura Mercier translucent powder. It's another powder I also use. Just going to take that same sponge. It's damp, so you want to make sure it's damp. That's going to help the powder penetrate into your skin. And I'm going to start stamping it everywhere we just applied the concealer. I'm really messy with this step. I really don't care to be neat about it because you're going to wipe it away anyways, so honestly, just go at it. Well, that is working into our skin and it's baking and it's doing its thing. I'm going to go in with contouring. Today I am using the Makeup Forever Full Cover Extreme Camouflage Cream Waterproof Concealer, and this is in the color 18. It's obviously a color that's darker than my skin tone. I'm using it on a small synthetic brush. It's really supposed to be an eyeshadow brush, but I like using these small synthetic brushes to really ensure I'm placing product on my face where I want it to be. So basically for my contour, I'm just gonna go from the top of my ear down until I reach about the end of my eye area. So my eye is here, so I'll just take it straight down. Where that meets, that's where it's gonna stop. Now some people, if you want, you can even like suck in your cheeks like a fish, and that will help you as to where you want to put the product as well as a guide. I'm going to go in with the Morphe E8 brush, and I'm going to start blending out the contour. Now, obviously you want the contour to look as natural as possible, so you're going to blend it out in many different ways to do that. But the first thing that I always do with contour is I take the brush and I just go back and forth, because right now you just want to blend the product out. You don't want to start doing like circles or swirls or anything like that, because it's going to mess up the contour and it's going to go all over the place. You kind of want to keep it in a central area first. I'm just going back and forth. That's it. Back and forth. Now what I'm going to do is I'm moving into the Sephora Pro Contour number 74 brush, and it's a little bit more fluffy, and I'm going to do the same thing, but now I'm kind of going in circles around that line. So instead of going straight, like we were going straight before, now I'm doing like circles, but in a straight line as well. I'm going to bring that up around my temple a little bit. Okay, so now you can see it's starting to blend out a little bit, and as it's getting less and less product, I'm starting to swirl it a bit more. I'm being a little bit more loose with it, and I'm bringing it around my jaw area to really make my neck and jaw area look a lot more slimmer and trimmer. Instant facelift, instant 10-pound weight loss. Now, if you have a bigger forehead, like my forehead's relatively small, so I really never contour because there would be no point. But if you do have a bigger forehead, you can also take up this product to the outer sides of your forehead, like the number 3. So you would go down and then around your jaw area. But I really don't do that because I have no forehead to do that too. So I'm just gonna focus on, what would be the number? I don't even know. A 3 without the top, I don't know. So now I'm going to dust away that excess powder. It's been on my skin long enough. So I'm just going to use, what brush is this? This is the Real Techniques. It doesn't say what number brush it is, but this is what it looks like. It is the perfect brush for this step. And I just brush everything away. Okay, let's play a game. What do you think the next step is gonna be? If you guessed more hydration spray, you are correct. So obviously I'm going back in with my toner to kind of do another set of hydration. So I do this because I want the powder to work with the toner and kind of dissolve and melt into my skin. I take the product that's left on the brush. I never go with like an intense nose contour because it's too obvious and it just doesn't look good. So whatever's left on the brush, that's what I'm going to use to trace out my nose. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down here on the sides of my nose, and then I'm just going to take the rest and kind of join it in the middle. That's it. Now for this step you can use a beauty blender or a brush, but I feel like there's nothing better than your fingers. So I'm going to take my finger and just start slowly blending that out. And if it gets too high, like if it gets on the bridge of my nose, I can just use another finger to wipe away the excess. Now I'm going to set my contour, and I'm going to use my Bobbi Brown bronzing powder. This is in the color Natural number 1, and I'm using that same Sephora contour brush that we did. I'm just dipping it into the product a little bit, tapping off the excess, and then going at it. I'm doing a really light coat of this. This is just really to set the concealer that we put on before. Basically anywhere you put on that contour with the concealer, that's what you are going to do with this brush. To set my nose, I'm just using a smaller brush. This is Mint Brush number 20. It's just a regular blending brush that you would use for your eyeshadow. So for the first part of highlighter, because obviously highlighter has to be extra and have like many steps, I'm going into the Cover FX drops. I mentioned this little set in my Sephora VIB Rouge sale haul. I'll link it on the screen or in the description box below if you want to check that out. But I'm gonna mix Celestial and Rose Gold. I'm basically gonna take a drop from each color and just mix that together. Then I'm going to apply it to the tops of my cheekbones. Whatever's left, I'm just gonna take it down the bridge of my nose. So now before we move on to finishing the highlight, I'm gonna let that set in my skin a little bit, and I'm gonna go back into my Ben Nye Banana Powder and the sponge, and I'm just going to clean up my contour. I'm not using a lot of powder. I'm just using enough that I can make a difference between the contour and my skin. I'm gonna use my Morphe M510 brush and my Hourglass Ambient Lighting palette. I'm gonna go into the color Dim Light and pick some up. And I'm going to put this everywhere that I want to highlight my skin. So I'm gonna put it on top of that Cover FX drops we just put. I'm gonna put it down the bridge of my nose. And as you can see, I'm being like really intense with this product because it's one of those products that make you look like you're glowing from within. So you don't need to feel scared at all by it. On top of my brows to really lift them. Now I'm gonna wipe away the powder. Like I mentioned, it's really quick. It's just to help blend out that area. I'm just gonna blend out my whole face area. Just want it to look a lot more natural. No harsh lines. Hashtag no harsh lines. And looky looky, guess what we're gonna do again? We're going to spray the face. This time though, because I'm getting closer to the end of my makeup application, I'm gonna go in with the Urban Decay All Nighter spray. I actually mixed in this bottle the Urban Decay All Nighter spray and the Urban Decay Dew Me setting spray, and I mixed them both together because I want that dewy glow, but I also want to last all night. So that's what she said. Anyways, I'm just being stupid. But yeah, so I mixed them both together, and that's what I'm going to use to spray on my face. Okay, so we cannot forget blush. So I'm going into my Estee Lauder Michael Kors Collab Blush, and I'm picking up the color Hot Sienna. Highlight, I'm going into the Morphe M510 brush again, and I'm picking up the Jaclyn Hill Becca Collab palette, and I'm going into the color Champagne Pop. I'm just gonna place that on the main highlight points, so obviously the tops of my cheekbones, down the bridge of my nose, and I am gonna place it underneath my brow as well to really lift my brows and bring some attention there. Whatever's left on my brush, I'm just gonna place on top of my Cupid's bow. Then I'm going to spray my face one final time because how could we really end this tutorial without a final spray? Come on, guys. This also will lock everything in. Okay, guys, so I just added some mascara, some eyeliner, and some lip gloss, but this is my completed full face routine. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and please don't forget to leave a comment down below to tell me what other videos you guys want to see, and let me know if you enjoyed this video, if you didn't enjoy it, what you want to see, blah, 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 all that stuff. You guys know the drill. Also, if you want any of the Province Apothecary stuff, like I mentioned, in the description box, there is my code with the link. So feel free to use the code ruthrchin at checkout and you'll get 15% off your order. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new. I will talk to you guys in my next video. Don't ever forget you are so beautiful. Bye, guys.